Thank you for watching ECSO News, where facts matter. I'm Allison Morgan.
And I'm Amber Southard. Let's take a look at our top trending Facebook headlines. From a slingshot to the slammer. Last week we received numerous reports about broken windows from homes, businesses, and vehicles. Blue and white marbles were found at many of the scenes. Escambia County deputies have arrested Stephen Del Ficaccio, Tristan Kirkland, and Elizabeth Petroni for using marbles as projectiles. The suspects caused property damage by using slingshots to break the windows. The suspects are charged with multiple deadly missile and criminal mischief charges for the crimes they committed in Escambia County. This is an ongoing investigation and more charges are expected to be made.
We need your help identifying a suspect. Do you recognize this man? He's wanted for robbery. On September 10th, the suspect walked into the Tom Thumb store in Cantonment and showed the clerk a gun. He then stole cigarettes and beer. If you have any information about this incident, call Crime Stoppers at 433-STOP or the ECSO at 436-9620.
It's that time again where we like to bring you our most wanted here at the Escambia County Sheriff's Office. Joining me now with Crime Stoppers is Lene McCrae.
Yes.
Get that out. I almost got tongue-tied on that. so thank you for coming on the show. We typically have Melanie, but she was kind of busy today. So we've got Lene, so it's a good treat for us to have her here in the studio. So who did you bring for us this week?
Well, we've got three lovely, upstanding individuals here.
Great.
Our first one we have is Crystal Alderman, and I believe she's also in the system as Crystal Welch. I think she's got two names there. But she's wanted for vehicle theft and grand theft, with a bond of $10,000. Apparently she borrowed a friend's vehicle and she didn't bring it back.
Not so nice, friend.
Yeah, I wouldn't call that a friend.
No. So, and our second we have on the list is Mario McGill. He is wanted for cruelty towards a child with no bond. And for this one, when I kind of read it, I believe how it's written is that this child was trying to protect his mother. And in the process, Mr. McGill injured the child. So this is why it's a cruelty towards child with no bond. So,
so trying to protect his mom, trying to do a good thing, and
right.
seems he got caught up.
He got caught in the middle of it. He was injured. So, it's.
We don't take too kind to that around here.
We don't.
Yet.
We don't. Absolutely not. So, and our last one we have is Kevin Powell. He's wanted for aggravated stalking with no bond. We actually featured him on our Crime Stoppers Facebook page a while back. We got about 3,200 hits on that one. So he's actually wanted for aggravated stalking, and for him it was a progression. He started doing little things here, burglary. He actually damaged her car to where it was inoperable. And then it's sending text messages and, cyber stalking and things like that, coming by her home, so.
Creeper alert.
Yes.
Right.
So we definitely want, him definitely off the street.
If anybody recognizes any of these people or knows anything about them or how to turn them in,
Yes.
Crime Stoppers 433-STOP.
433-STOP. There's actually 4 ways to do it. We actually have our website, which is GulfCoastCrimeStoppers.org. Once you pull up the homepage, go up to the top right-hand corner. There's a red Submit a Tip button. Just follow all the prompts. They can also text a tip to CRIMES, CRIMES, and in the body of the text put GCCS, which stands for Gulf Coast Crime Stoppers. It'll come straight to Investigator Peterson. She'll be able to interact, and the best thing about that is you can send pictures and video. A lot of times we don't have updated pictures, so that's a great way to get updated information. And then also the last one is the Tip Submit app. If you have an iPhone or, iOS device or Android, you can download that app and just follow the prompts, and there you go.
And of course, Melanie's favorite saying that Allison and I love it, crime doesn't pay, but we do.
We do.
We do.
Absolutely.
So there are rewards on all three of
Yes, on all of these individuals, there are rewards. It's kind of hard to say where they start. It really depends, because sometimes if you catch somebody with a little more than what the warrant is, let's say a gun that's been out there that's been stolen, or narcotics or anything like that, that just builds, the reward. And I just want to remind everybody too as well that if you call in on a narcotics tip, stay with us. We actually had one that it started in October 2015, and it finally paid off last month.
Wow.
And she was consistently calling us and checking on it, and now, it finally paid off for her.
And the
So,
tipsters, they keep a number, is that right?
yes. Make sure when you call, keep your PIN number. Between Mondays between 9 and 1, they can call and actually talk to Investigator Peterson, and she'll tell them the status of the tip.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Renee.
Again, if you recognize any of these people featured in tonight's episode, you can call 433-STOP. A joint press conference held at the Pensacola Police Department with the Escambia County Sheriff's Office and the Gulf Breeze Police Department and State Attorney's Office revealed 22 men were arrested in an internet sting.
It's nice to be the head of an agency, but I will tell you, I don't serve warrants. I don't listen to wiretaps, and I don't kick in doors. But I got some professional experts that do.
It's called Operation Undertow. From September 7th to the 11th, investigators with several different agencies, including the Escambia County Sheriff's Office, Pensacola Police Department, the State Attorney's Office, U.S. Marshal Service, and Naval Criminal Investigative Service, worked to put people behind bars for traveling to have sex with teenage boys or girls.
2/3 of our crimes committed today occur indoors. And I think this, brings it to light, very boldly for all of us to know that, this is such a hateful and insidious crime that preys upon our children who are the most vulnerable.
The 22 suspects made contact with investigators using several different websites. Each one was told numerous times they were chatting with a minor. Still, they decided to travel to meet with the teenager they were chatting with. When the suspects arrived at the door, they were met with open arms and quickly taken inside the home.
And it is surprising to me to see that we continue to make this many arrests and arrests that have this high quality.
While local law enforcement leaders were proud of this investigation, there is still more work to be done.
Protecting and serving the public is ongoing. It's not just a program. It's not just one project. It's one task day after day.
More arrests are expected to be made.
And thank you to all who showed gratitude to our first responders on 9/11. The ECSO would like to thank Carl Hickson and the staff at Giorgio's Pizza for honoring all first responders by treating them to free pizza. There were also several other local churches and businesses who showed their gratitude in the form of food and fellowship that we would like to thank, including all the churches seen here.
In its 6th week, our Citizens Law Enforcement Academy learned about patrol procedures. CLIA members learned about DUI patrol procedures from Deputy Roop and Deputy Shelley. Sergeant Hobbs also shared his presentation about our domestic security unit and gave them a tour of our incident command bus, which is used to respond to crimes, disasters, and major events.
This command bus allows us to respond to any incident, be it a search and rescue, SWAT, hostage negotiation, large event like Blue Angel Air Show, and give us a platform to operate so that the people of Escambia County don't see any difference of how we're operating in their area, or if they call the sheriff's office, it's going to respond the same way.
To learn more about CLIA, visit our website at escambiaso.com.
Do you know someone who has automotive repair experience? The ECSO is looking for a qualified fleet maintenance technician. To apply for a description of the position, including examples of the duties and minimum qualifications, please visit our website, escambiaso.com. Click on the Jobs link, then click Enter Online Application Center. Applications will be accepted online through Wednesday, September 21st. That's tomorrow.
And who better to talk about jobs here at the Escambia County Sheriff's Office than Deputy Bray? She's part of our recruiting section here at the Sheriff's Office. So if somebody is looking for a job here, we post them online. Can you tell them how they can find jobs that we have?
We do. They're posted on our Sheriff's Office website at escambiaso.com. And there's a tab that has jobs. So you just click on the jobs, and actually there's a drop down for my information, so I can be contacted that way if anyone has any questions. Other than that, they go into the jobs tab. It will then bring them to the online application center, and they can scroll through any job that we have available at that time. And one really cool benefit right there on the website is there's a job interest card. So if we just currently don't have a job posted that they're looking for, say they're looking for a crime scene technician position or civil process server, they can click that jobs tab and fill out a little application, and they'll be notified via email when we do have a position posted. So that's really cool.
That's wonderful. I didn't even know that existed.
Yeah, and you can pick all of the jobs if you want to. Then you'll be notified every time we post one.
That's great.
And it's not just sworn jobs. I mean, we just talked about a fleet maintenance job. We have an array of things to offer here.
We do. Our support staff is phenomenal. There's several positions, from report takers, dispatch, the process servers, our records division. I mean, we actually have more civilian positions than we do sworn. So when you think of the sheriff's office, not everybody remembers that the deputies actually have a great support staff, and we're always hiring for those as well.
And they can do all that right on our website, then they don't need to bring in any forms or pick up any forms at the
Right.
sheriff's
Our
office.
application is electronic, and then you can actually upload documents. Resumes are not required, but they are, strongly recommended, and so you can upload that.
And if you do see a sworn position, sometimes we do have them up. We have the LESS program that goes on sometimes. What are things that people need to know if they do want to become sworn and work here at the sheriff's office?
There's some minimum qualifications. First, we only hire at the minimum age of 21 for deputy. You have to have a valid driver's license, no felony arrest, and no misdemeanors regarding battery and or perjury. So, and actually our LESS program is a phenomenal program. You don't even have to have law enforcement experience for that.
And do we have any less positions open right now?
Currently, right now, we don't. We have in the very near future, we are. I don't have that date set yet, but keep checking our website and we'll have it on there.
We keep saying LESS, but I don't know if people at home understand what that means.
That is law enforcement student trainee, and so that's why I said no one needs experience. We actually will hire you, prepare you for a law enforcement academy, where we'll send you to that, and you take the state exam, and then you're actually a full law enforcement officer at that point.
We actually just had that position open, I think a couple weeks ago, right?
We did.
So for people who applied to that a couple weeks ago, what's the next step in the process?
We have an upcoming physical ability evaluation where they run 1.5 miles and do some sit-ups and push-ups. And then from that is the interview. And all of that is scored, so that's how we can rank our applicants as far as how well they perform physically and also in their interview.
So when somebody applies for a job here to be sworn, they have to go to George Stone first for training before they come here for additional training.
Correct. So if they did not get hired under a LEST program, we accept applications for applicants who already have their state certification, and the most local one is the George Stone training facility, and they can actually obtain it from anywhere in the state, but that's our local one. So if you're hired in one of our programs like the LEST, then we do send our applicants there.
And can you talk about some of the benefits for both civilian and sworn?
Oh, yes. So we have competitive pay. Our benefits are wonderful. So our Blue Cross Blue Shield for an individual is less than $10 a month, and that's awesome. Also, around $170 for full benefits for a whole family with all the dependents. We have our employee health care clinic, which is great because it saves you that money on the copay. You're not feeling well, you just kind of run into the clinic real quick, and they're awesome. We have a wonderful gym. It's open 24 hours, starting some new programs in there with some trainers and stuff. So we have the gym. Tuition reimbursement is something that people, college is very expensive.
I think I'm going to be paying student loans for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And the sheriff is wonderful. He actually pays for you to go to school. So covers the tuition. If you make an A, it's 100% paid. If you make a B, you're only responsible for 10%. So, it's like excellent. And we have a couple learning partners where you can work with your schedule and take your classes online. It's great. And also for like the sworn, we have all the equipment is paid for and covered, a take-home vehicle, your uniforms, some great benefits too, even on the sworn side. And on the civilian side, the holidays and our schedule, I can't say enough too. A great agency to work for, not just because I work here.
True. Yep. Okay. So what are some of the most important things? You're out in the community a lot. It's not just online. People, they can go online and see what we have to offer, but you're traveling the community quite a bit, going to colleges and speaking. What are some of the most questions that you get the most when you're out and about? The main one is we have a lot of applicants that are ready to be in law enforcement and they're ready to serve their community and they're not quite 21. And I actually, I like to tell them there's so much more to the sheriff's office, crime scene and evidence, and there's jobs that they actually could go into before they're 21 and they can get the feel for our agency and how we work, and actually they learn about law enforcement at the same time. And then when there is a position available, we can work with them to try to get them into a sworn position. So I do the career fairs, and I'd say that's probably the main thing. We have a lot of younger applicants that are just not quite 21, but there's options even if you're not 21. So if you're sitting at home right now and wondering, wondering why 21 is our magic age. It's because you can't carry a gun.
Well, at 21, we kind of feel like you have some good life experience and you're responsible. So that's kind of the age there. Mm-hmm.
All right. So anybody watching right now that is interested in any jobs we have here at the Escambia County Sheriff's Office, again, the website that Deputy Bray mentioned. Also, if they have any questions, what's a number they can reach you at?
I have an office phone where they can reach me at 436-9158. And also I have a very easy email, which is recruiter@escambiaso.com. So anybody who has just a general question, either side, civilian or sworn, I can help them out.
Thank you so much for joining us. Again, you can give her a call on her desk phone or send an email over, or you can visit us at our website at escambiaso.com.
I'm Escambia County Sheriff David Morgan, and thank you for watching Ask the Sheriff. This is your chance to ask me any questions you want answered about the ECSO. Our team hits the streets again, and here are some of the questions you asked.
What exactly is the Sheriff's Ranch all about?
Jordan, thank you for the question. I'm a huge supporter, and I would even go so far as to say fan, of the Florida Sheriff's Youth Ranch. This organization began back in the 1950s, I believe, around 1957. It's located at Live Oak. The main campus, I should say, is located at Live Oak, Florida. If you get on Interstate 10 and head east, you go past Tallahassee, you'll actually see signs posted that say Florida Sheriff's Youth Ranch. This started when a couple of sheriffs were going to Texas together, and they were driving out in a car to pick up a juvenile who had been engaged in criminal activity to bring him back to the state of Florida. And during this long drive to Texas back in the 1950s, they discussed, what can we do to outreach to our children to divert them from getting engaged and involved in criminal activity? And that was kind of the genesis of the Florida Sheriff's Youth Ranch. It is a purely nonprofit organization. It gets almost all of its funding from those who contribute to it. Of course, I started prior to being elected sheriff and have given since I've been sheriff. I do a payroll deduction. And every year we also hold our Hot Pursuit Run, which is a specific fundraiser for the Florida Sheriff's Youth Ranch. We've raised over $100,000, I believe, since I've been the sheriff of Escambia County. We're very, very proud of that. The children there are not, have not been, I should say, judged juvenile delinquents or adjudicated guilty of any crimes. They are what are referred to as at-risk children. They could be orphans, they could be children from broken homes. Occasionally we'll have a parent that will come to the Florida Sheriff's Youth Ranch and just ask for assistance with their child. And so if the child, again, has not been adjudicated guilty and is in the criminal justice system, they almost always outreach to help them. It's a very controlled environment. The children live in group homes. There's a husband and wife that run each facility. I believe there's 6 children per house. There's 2 per bedroom. And again, they actually work a ranch, believe it or not. They actually farm, they have cattle, they have horses. And so they're almost self-sustaining, if you will, for so many areas. They offer education from kindergarten through the 12th grade. There have been a few of the clients there. They call them ranchers, by the way, and those of us that are sheriffs are made honorary ranchers, which used to be a term of derision in the local area, where the local kids in the local schools would say, oh, you're one of those ranchers, meaning that was a child that had been abandoned, could have been an orphan, or was from a broken home. It now has kind of become, a term of pride, and all of us that are associated with the youth ranch, we tell folks, we're ranchers. We believe in the Florida Sheriff Youth Ranch. A phenomenal, successful program. If you would ever like to visit, you don't even need an appointment. If you ever find yourself on Interstate 10 going east towards Jacksonville, you pass Tallahassee, you'll see the signs that tell you where to turn off for the Florida Sheriff Youth Ranch. Literally, you can do a drop-by. And you can say, hey, I'm, Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so from Escambia County, Florida, and our Sheriff David Morgan said you need to stop by and see the Sheriff's Youth Ranch. They will take you on a tour. Again, you don't need to make an appointment. That's how open and transparent they are. They actually encourage this so people will know that there isn't any child abuse going on here. It's a very healthy home environment, which again supports educational efforts and endeavors, and they also make the children work for their stay, if you will. So I know of very few programs that I am so enthusiastic about that I know work, and this one does. So it's your Florida Sheriff's Youth Ranch.
a diversionary program for young people at risk, both boys and girls, by the way. And again, if you get a chance and you get a flyer in the mail and ask you to support that, I would encourage you to do so. It's just a top-notch program. It's if you go and do one of those visits I recommended, you'll walk away from there with, welled up. There'll be a tear in your eye because some of these children's stories are kind of heart-wrenching, but you'll also know they're in the place they need to be. So again, support the Florida Sheriff's Youth Ranch.
What is the purpose of all the billboards?
Marcus, the billboards that we have are part of an ongoing program started a little over 2 years ago at the Escambia County Sheriff's Office. Currently, we're pushing a national program called Lock It. As you well know, it was in the news about 18 months ago. We just had a terrible spate of car burglaries and also home burglaries, where people were leaving their vehicles and their homes unsecured. If you were lucky, you had your car burglarized. Many times they were left unlocked, obviously, because that's the name of the program. Other times they left homes unlocked and homes were actually burglarized. So as part of a nationwide effort and some research by my staff, what are the ways that we want to get the word out to our community to support law enforcement in these efforts to see a downward trend in burglaries and somewhat home invasions also. And so the FBI, believe it or not, is one of the organizations that strongly recommended the use of billboards, that it was one of the quickest and fastest ways to get a message out to a community that was consistent and sustained throughout your program. And so we took what's called LET money, which is our trust fund money. It's from drug forfeitures. When we do drug bust and we get both assets, which can be cash, but it could also be cars and homes, etc., which we later dispose of, that money is the one what's referred to as a discretionary fund that I have at the Sheriff's Office by Florida statute, that I can spend it for local programs. And so we give to a whole host of different programs for youth diversion. I spoke to the last question. A lot of our contributions to the Florida Sheriff Youth Ranch also comes from our trust fund money, which is drug forfeiture money. None of the money that we have spent on the billboards are from our ad valorem taxes, meaning that what we do is we do not spend your taxpayers' money on the billboards. And so, by the way, for those who are detractors of this program, we've noticed a drop at mid-year of over 26% in our burglaries. So we believe the program's working. By the way, prior to the billboards, we've been advertising in all the local theaters, not only for our Most Wanted program, which we also partner with our Crime Stoppers, but also programs that we use our trust money for. One of these being included, a Lock It program. So the billboards was the last follow-on, if you will, to our social media program on how do we get the word out to our community and get our community on board to do a very simple thing called, lock it. Lock your vehicles, lock your homes, and, keep it yours.
Name one thing that you're in an department that you do not have the authority to change, but you would like to change.
Joy, that's an excellent question, and it kind of gave us all pause when you asked that question. If I could change one thing at the Sheriff's Office, what would that be as Sheriff? What would I change if I could do it basically today? I think it would be to streamline so many of our programs. I will use an example of when I first became the Sheriff in Escambia County. We have a very robust chaplains program. And at that time, I also had the jail program, I operated the Escambia County Jail. And we had chaplains on the law enforcement side and chaplains on the correctional side. And right after I was elected, I'm getting these phone calls from all these chaplains wanting to meet with me and talk about, chaplain or faith issues at the Escambia County Sheriff's Office and how we provide certain information, et cetera, to our officers. And then I'd get calls from the corrections side, from both the inmates and the correctional officers. Well, as you can well imagine, I'm getting inundated because at one time we had a volunteer chaplain staff of about 17. Well, all 17 people are calling me wanting to meet me for either lunch or dinner, and so I'm kind of running in circles trying to meet that. So after about the 6th or 7th call, I said, stop, time out. Do we have a head chaplain? Do we have someone in charge of our chaplaincy for both law enforcement and corrections? And how about we all get together for a luncheon and discuss these issues instead of me running to 17 different people, trying to remember what I said to the last one and the one before that and the one before that, so we can establish a very consistent program. This also applies to so many of our programs in the government. Specifically, I'm going to discuss the rehabilitative side. Here in Escambia County, we have just almost an unmentionable number, if you will, of folks involved in the very same activity. drug rehabilitation. We have those that are secular, those that are religious. We have those that receive or are totally dependent upon state funding, and those that rely solely upon contributions from our community. And they all have the same goal, but none of them appear to be working together a lot. And so we're parsing out a lot of money to these different organizations, again, both state-ran, secular, religious, etc. And we're not on the same page. And I've always kind of wondered, if I had the authority to do that, why I wouldn't try to consolidate so many of these programs. Youth diversion programs is another excellent example. How we could probably do a tremendous amount of more good for these individuals needing this help if we could consolidate all of that funding into one place. And then throw into the mix, I have athletic stars that want to start their own 501c3s for diversion programs for young men and young women. So what we tend to do here at the Escambia County Sheriff's Office, even though I don't have the authority obviously to change that, what I do is I select through research those programs that I know have a proven track record here in Escambia County. I'll mention a couple here. PACE Center for Girls, excellent organization, excellent program, a tremendous amount of return on the investment that we have with them. We partnered with them about 3 or 4 years ago. Started with small contributions, inching those up now to where I think we give between $10,000 and $15,000 a year now to PACE Center for Girls. But just an outstanding program that takes at-risk youth, in this case young women, in Escambia County, and turns their lives around. So, but I've always wondered if we could expand the PACE Center for Girls so it would have the ability to literally intake all the young women in Escambia County that are having those sorts of issues, and what tremendous amount of good we could do. But as with all things, when we have so many programs and everybody's competing for the dollar, needing to keep their program afloat and to make sure that they're adequately funded, I think we disperse or we dilute our ability to do the best good for our community. So I think I would probably change that. I would say let's all try to get on the same page. Remember, you can also email your questions and ask the sheriff at escambiaso.com. We'll be back next week right here on Blab TV Tuesday night at 8 p.m.